So Marcela Lobos, you are most welcome to Livsenergipodden. How are you today?
Thank you, Alexandra. I'm really happy to speak with you. And actually, I'm enjoying so much your background, those trees, that forest, that water. It's beautiful. Thank you for having me.
I figured maybe you'd like it because sometimes when speaking about shamanism, there's always nature around, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear my birds outside and the water running.
Mhm.
And that's who we are. We are nature and we are the elements. So it is beautiful when we can feel that connection and feel the strength and the wisdom and of nature. So yeah, always appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are here today to talk about your latest book, The Sacred Andean Codes, that we just have translated into Swedish.
I am
Marcela,
so grateful.
this is a beautiful book, and we thank you for writing it. We want to hear more about you, who you are, and where you're from, and what is the Munay-Ki rites.
Thank you so much, first of all, for the interest and everybody listening, um, for your interest about this wisdom that comes from the Andes of Peru mainly, but it's very universal. I grew up in Chile. I have ancestors from Bolivia and Peru, so I'm very Andean. I have some European blood as well. So I feel like a bridge between the Western world and the European legacy, but also the native from South America.
Mm.
And it is a great joy to be able to share what I found from my roots in the South of America,
Mm.
and it's something that I share with Alberto, my husband, who has written many books about shamanism. I first connected with this through him
Yeah.
20 some years ago, and on the Munay-Ki it's like a map uh, uh, to our consciousness, for the evolution of our consciousness. There are many maps, of course. If we speak about Europe, I really appreciate Carl Jung's map,
Mm.
the journey to individuation, to become whole, and not deny and reject parts of ourselves. So, really, that work of the shadow, of like looking at those aspects of us that we don't like, and then say, yes, but that's me too. So, here as well, with the Munay-Ki, we start with the first level of consciousness, which is the healer. And the healer has to start embracing all the parts that are beautiful in us, but also those parts that hurt. Uh, I was speaking with friends yesterday how the word trauma and stress was not so popular 100 years ago. So today everybody's like, what is my trauma? What is the stress that I deal with?
Mm.
Because it's making us sick and it's keeping us sick if we don't go and dig there. So it's a wonderful thing that we have this awareness of our traumas and stress, so we can shift. And that's an opportunity that these times brings us, because it's so accepted. Like 50 years ago, our parents and grandparents didn't have the openness to dig in, and they just became neurotic and just had to cope with, sometimes with alcohol, with cigarettes, with being super workaholics. So, but today we get to look into these places that hurt, and we get to transform that into wisdom, compassion, strength. So, and it's when we walk through that fire transformation ourselves that we know how to be a healer, because we have healed ourselves. We're never going to end healing, right? It's not, I mean, there's a concept of the wounded healer. Like, we learn to walk with our wounds. So if we haven't healed it, at least we know how to give ourselves a tender hug and have compassion towards us and patience with ourselves. So we learn to navigate life with our own shortcomings. But nevertheless, we're on the path, the journey, and that is the stage of the healer. And that's the first stage. And there are a few more stages.
So what about you? Where you are from Chile? And what, I mean, short your soul story of from where you come from to how you actually met Alberto. That would be wonderful story to know.
Yes, we can talk about the stages of the Munay-Ki a little bit more in later. But
Yes.
let me tell you about like how I came involved with all of this. We recognize in the shamanic path what in mythology is known as the call to adventure from the hero's journey, but in the shamanic mindset is called the call from spirit. Is known as the call from spirit. We feel like a call to live our lives in a way that is bigger than just going through the practicalities of the day to day. So beyond paying the bills and just surviving, but like connecting with our sacred mission. So I was in the US because of sports and adventure. I was there as a young mother of 2 children, and my marriage was not going really well, and I was feeling very lonely, isolated, hopeless, like not much hope of the future. I was just in that dark night of the soul, that dark tunnel. And of course, I was just not knowledgeable of all these topics. So I was even considering taking my life because I was just feeling so depressed, miserable, helpless, hopeless. And that's when I ran into Alberto's school, the Four Winds Society, and they were offering a class called Soul Retrieval. I I was just really at the end of my rope, and I said, "Well, I'll try this before I do anything." And it was magical. The I couldn't retrieve my soul because my conditions weren't appropriate for my soul to come back and be free and dance around the house, because it was a very contrived environment, repressive environment. I say sometimes that I married the dictator that I grew up with. You know, I grew up in the 70s in Chile. There was a dictatorship, militaristic environment until the 1990 when democracy came back. So I left my country, but I married the dictator. And then but that was my lesson. We all know that we married our our lessons oftentimes.
Yeah.
So then yes, so it was this deep crisis that opened me up to like just ask to that transcendental aspect of life to help me, because nothing was helping me around me. And I just surrendered and say, okay, if help doesn't come from the beyond, I just don't know what else to do. I
And
surrender.
before this moment, you never had spiritual encounters or experience?
Well, I believe that all children have plenty of spiritual encounters and embodiment, really, because as children we are not separate from the great just the great mystery and all um, the magical things that happen when we are so tuned in and in the flow of the great spirit. Yes, of course we suffer as kids, we have difficult times, but if we look at any 2-year-old, those eyes of wonder and then the trust that we had, as you know, that like there's something bigger that is gonna protect us. So yes, of course, I was a kid that looked at butterflies and bees with with great curiosity. And the the one thing that was particular about my upbringing is that I was a big dreamer.
Yeah.
And I can remember my dreams since I'm 5 years old. And I dream about, I have prophetic dreams, and I have such guidance from the dream world. So shamans from not just the Andes of Peru and the Amazons of Peru, but of southern Chile, the machis, they're known as machis. I train with a couple of them, and a big deal for them as far as being a shaman is to have a very lucid connection with the messages that come through dream time.
Mm.
So when they have a patient that comes to see them with an illness or a situation, they oftentimes they say, "Okay, let me dream." And
Ah.
that night they have a dream, and then they know what's the root cause of the situation, and then they also dream about the medicine that they need to provide.
Mm.
So that is something that was with me since a little kid. And then also a very rebellious spirit. In school, though I had really good um, grades, I was the most rebellious kid in the whole school.
In what way?
In what way? Like I would hijack all my friends and take them skiing on a day in which we did have class. And then the teachers knew that I had organized the whole thing, and I just made everybody ski after a winter storm, and instead of going to class. So they knew I had that charisma power to pull crowds into some rebellious action.
Ah, and now you have kind of channeled that. Can you say that you have channeled that gift
Yes,
into the
yes.
world
So
of shamanism?
my family was not religious, and that was another thing that allowed me to just explore spirituality my own way. My parents never imposed any ideas of what I should believe, so I was very free in my mind to be who I needed to be. And they were very also not strict, just very open. So but nevertheless, the militaristic environment was very repressive. So I escaped as a young person. I loved surfing. I was the first female to surf in Chile and the first female to snowboard and to do these like adventure sports. So so yeah, that shows my also like this energy I had inside of me that took me to the United States, to California to surf, to the mountains to snowboard. And I found community there. I found my first husband there. And then, yes, I was in just a lot of pain with my two children. And then I just said, well, I don't know what else to do. And then this shamanic class came through the Four Wind Society, and I said that I didn't retrieve my soul because it was the conditions were not ripe, but I did experience something very interesting. Uh,
Mhm.
it's known as destiny retrieval. Uh,
Okay.
yes. So in that shamanic setting, I was able to align myself with a destiny that it was not more trauma, more karma, but really like get off the momentum. We speak about the momentum tunnel, like all the stories and the genes that you carry are taking you down the mountain through a certain path. And it's really hard to break that momentum,
Mm.
that gravity that is just going in one direction. So like to be able to make a shift 180 degree to another side it takes a lot of just just
willpower.
force. Yeah, like a force that will just take you in another direction. So that is a shamanic process called destiny retrieval, and actually it was like me aligning with a destiny that was the most auspicious destiny that was available to me, but it was very improbable, not very probable. But because it was brought to my energy field, then it started informing my life and my mind and my heart. And quickly, so this is what I love about the shamanic path. It can be like a lightning bolt, like a lightning bolt. We call it the path of rapid transformation. In our tradition with the Four Winds Society School, we actually have the fire ceremony as our core ceremony, because fire burns so much. And we're not afraid of fire, because fire will burn anything that is not our authentic, true, essential self. So we just really work with fire and then just let it burn, whatever is there that is getting like stuck and heavy. And so and fire has light.
Yeah.
And it's the light of the sun that got wrapped into the wood years ago. So that gets liberated, and we commune again with the light, with the luminous being that we are.
Yeah.
So anyways, my life shifted 180 degrees, and my reality today is nothing I could have dreamed of 20 some years ago when I was in deep travel. So that's a little bit my story.
That's a courageous path to take, even though it was necessary.
Yes. Those woundings, those traumas, what we call those traumas, many traditions, not just the shamanic, recognize that it's like that opening that we need in order to go deep, in order to connect truly to our essence as human beings of the earth, and also as spiritual beings. Because otherwise we can get on with a very shallow life. It's so easy to just go through the motions and go shopping and, have your 3 meals a day and do your work, dress beautiful, buy more beautiful clothing, and have fun with your friends. And we can really get into that very shallow way of living. But when we have deep pain or a crisis like illness, like an accident of sorts, or a beloved dies, or something terrible, many people say, we're breaking open. And then the light can go deep into our being, and we can remember then who we are and why we are here for. What are we here for? And that brings us back to the Munay-Ki. That tells us what are we here for. So, but
yes, because when you met the shamanism and the Four Winds Society, it wasn't to meet the Munay-Ki rites. That came later, right?
Yes. So with the medicine wheel, that is the compass of this shamanic path, to remember our essence, to recover our power, to connect directly with wisdom, etc. Within that medicine wheel, these initiations, the Munay-Ki, are offered.
Okay.
Yes. So just in a nutshell, what is the medicine wheel? It's a beautiful vehicle that you enter and allows you to walk through the way of the wounded healer, recognize what are your woundings, and then transform them into sources of beauty, of compassion to others, and of power. And then the way of, so that's in the south direction for our medicine wheel. Other medicine wheels have other elements inside each direction. But in our tradition, the south is the way of the wounded healer. In the west is the way of the luminous warrior. So the luminous warrior is that person that has connected to that essence, to that inner light. So in times of darkness and in times of chaos and confusion like we have today, you are not dependent, though you read news, though you inform yourselves, though you look for the people that are really progressive and you have the best sources possible to know what to do, still you don't depend on the outside world because your inner light is so strong, your inner compass. So it's true intuition is so alive. Then that's a luminous warrior that can shine through times of darkness with her own light. So it's very beautiful. So we do the work of finding our light, our inner compass. The next, that's in the west. In the north direction, we have the way of the sage. So in that aspect, we say that we learn to sip, to drink directly from wisdom. And again, it's like emphasizing that we have light, and then when we are connected to that inner intuition, then information from the beyond just comes to us. We are drinking directly from the wisdom of the stars, of the sun, of the wind, and we know what to do, and we become the teachers, the mentors, the storytellers. Of course, it takes time. So we initiate people into these ways, but then, of course, it takes time for this to ripen, to become ripe. So it takes months, years to really embody any of these archetypes: wounded healer, luminous warrior, sage. And then on the east direction, we have the way of the seer, of the visionary. And this is a very contemplative way of stage of being, because we speak here about dreaming the world into being. So if we want to change the world, we need to just contemplate from much tranquility, peace, stillness. What are the qualities of that world that we want to create for our children and our children's children? So we sit in great stillness. We don't need to necessarily be in a cave in the Himalayas, but we can actually create a peaceful place in our own homes to sit and contemplate and embody that which we want for the world. So instead of praying so desperately for peace, we become peaceful. Instead of praying so desperately for greed to go away, we become generous. So we start embodying those qualities, and then we radiate, we trickle that out towards all our relations, all our encounters, all the places we go. So that's how we become medicine people. By embodying, not by talking about it, not by doing. Main thing is to embody.
You explain it so beautifully. So everything starts with you, but this is a vehicle to actually get to you.
Exactly. Yes.
So how does this relate to the Munay-Ki?
Yes. So as we go through this medicine wheel, and the Munay-Ki, it's its own map and compass. So I just mentioned what we do at our school, the Four Winds, but the Munay-Ki on its own is taking us through these stages of consciousness, of generosity, of heart opening, which is different than state of consciousness. So people can be happy, inspired, uplifted on a Saturday afternoon, and then they can feel just tired, cranky, depressed the next morning, maybe a little too much to drink or whatever, or just the moon or the stars or something. So that is a state that is of feelings, that is temporary. It comes and goes. It's not permanent. One day we feel super loving, another time we feel very angry. And sometimes we take psychedelics, which many people are doing today, and we feel like gods. We can see the explosions of galaxies and the creation of stars, depending what we took, of course. Or maybe we can just really be in like that 2-year-old again, like looking at the bees or the butterflies with such amazement. So yeah, but then after a week of those experiences, we can start having problems at work or in the family, and then we become all cranky and we close our heart again, and we frown and we close our third eye. So with the Munay-Ki, we learn that we need to do the real deep alchemy, so we can become more open in the heart and not regress. So the stage of consciousness versus the state is that we don't regress to a more closed heart and to less wisdom. So after the healer, we spoke about the healer. The next stage is the Pampamesayok in Quechua. We call it daykeeper in English. And it's the person that really reconnected with her roots or his roots on the earth, and really knows how to honor the elements in her own body, and just has a dialogue, like a fluid dialogue with the land. So that's why I was admiring your forest there. So like someone that could just really just feel the pulse of the trees, or knows how to really say thank you to the earth for the food that is nourishing us today. So there's like a true dialogue with the feminine aspect of the earth that is our mother. And of course it's required like a heart opening to be able to sense that, a sensitivity, a sensibility. It makes us a medicine person in a bigger way. It's not just about our healing and then helping a friend, but now the heart is so open, the wisdom is really awakening. So we actually can dedicate so much of this beautiful energy that comes through to the well-being of our community, of everybody in the land, in our land around. So it's kind of like becomes like a keeper of the community. And all of this doesn't need to be like public, like, oh, I'm so special, I am the shaman of the community or the medicine person. No, it's just quiet in your own home. You light a candle and you know that it's important to pray for everybody in the community, and it's important that all children in that community are happy and not just your own child. Something like that.
Yeah. So how, when you walk through the rites, is there a special order? Because we have 10 rites, the 10 Munay-Ki rites. Is there a journey through the different rites, or from top to bottom, or in a circle? Or is it can you travel through them like you wish to?
More than as we wish, it's more as we're gifted there. Like in any way that spirit gives us the rights. For example, for me, the first right I received was the one that connects us to the times to come. So with these stages of consciousness, we realize that it's not only about becoming a steward, a keeper of the land or of the altar or of the earth, an earth keeper, but it's also a time awareness. I am a keeper of the times to come. So that was the first initiation I received, the keeper of the times to come, the Mosok. And just really opens you up to connect to who we're becoming, not just in 10 years, but in 10,000 years. And for me, that was really difficult to grasp in the beginning, because I couldn't even relate to what was happening in my life in a few months with the uncertainty that I had with my kids and my situation. But as these Munay-Ki initiations ripen, now I understand what the sages of old meant by eons of time, hundreds of thousands of years. And just you really start like, wow, your mind gets blow open, your head, you just really are, is mind-blowing, as they say, mind-blowing. Like you start like really sensing, feeling that part of the universe that is hundreds of thousands of years old, maybe millions. And you start like, so it's like an opening, as another stage of seeing reality. And to answer your question, so we have a default order that is very beautiful to grow into these stages of consciousness, from the healer to the daykeeper. Then the next one is the Alto Mesayok. I know what you're looking, Alexandra, you're a little confused, because I'm speaking about the initiations that connects us to a lineage. To a lineage, yes. So after the healer, there are 3 rights, yes? There's the bands of power, the archetypes or Aini Karpai, and then there's the Kawak. And what happens, those are to empower, there's a plane.
And no worries.
Those are to empower our medicine. So after we receive the healer initiation, the bands of power just really help us purify the elemental being that we are. The earth band of power, the water band, the fire band, the air band, and the pure light band. And in the book, you, please, beautiful audience, you can see what each one of these belts of elements help you do, transform the heavy energies into more light, into just medicine.
So it kind of breaks it down to parts where we can take care of bit by bit. Can you say that?
Exactly. For example, the black band that goes around our belly and first and second chakras, energy centers below, is that black earth that is kind of like that black earth that in the Amazon they know as tierra prieta, like black, like prieta black. And it's so fertile that it composts anything so quickly. So we can really send to our black band anything that's really heavy, and that band will just mulch it and then expel it out. Yes, so when we're working with the air band that is around the neck, fifth chakra. It helps us clear our expression. The wind helps clear our throat, so we can really express who we are and our passion and who we want to become. So just real. The light, luminous band around the forehead and the head, it helps clear um, the thoughts and heaviness of the brain, of the head, so we can have more clarity in our vision. So that's how we work with the bands. I mean, it's all explained in the book.
Yeah.
Then the next initiation is these archetypes: serpent, jaguar, hummingbird, eagle, condor, and then three keepers of the underworld, middle world, upper world, and each one has a message, a medicine, and great power. So when we spoke about the medicine wheel, the way of the healer, serpent teaches the healer how to release everything that is old, stagnant, obsolete, and we don't need anymore. Like the serpent sheds its skin all at once, instead of one little scale at a time, one problem at a time. Just release the old story, just all at once.
Yeah.
And then to finish that third initiation, that it's not so much of a lineage, but it's more like technical. Though there is a lineage also here, is the kawak, like the seer. So we connect the third eye or spiritual eye here through a crown, energetic crown, to the heart through an energetic necklace. So we can see with the eyes of the heart and have more coherence and have more purpose in our, like, true purpose in our seeing, in our vision. Okay,
What
so
a beautiful, how do you say, vision. It's like a visualization to connect the third eye with the heart.
Yes. So a crown and then a necklace, and it's so elegant. It's so elegant. So we have the healer with these three empowerments or initiations, and then we have the daykeeper, or the one that connects with the land and the water and the elements in that fluid way. Then the alto mesayok, or wisdom keeper, is the one that goes up the mountain and sees with that perspective. So that's another stage, like to be able to see with even bigger perspective. It's not so much here with the hands on the earth, but it's more like, wow, what is happening around? How can we collaborate with the other communities, not just my community? And then after that wisdom keeper that sees from the heights of the mountains and speaks with the mountains, we have the earth keeper. So yet another level of heart opening and vision to be able to really be a citizen of the world, and not just the cliche that I get to travel and that makes me a citizen of the world. No, because sometimes we can be so selfish. We go around the world and see what is for me, like how is this gonna make me a more sophisticated person, or I'm just gonna take all these artifacts home and just be such a cool person. But that's not, in the medicine way, a true citizen of the world, an earth keeper. The earth keeper is the one that has so much love, that can love all the children of the world, even if they're white, yellow, black, I mean, whatever color, from wherever. There are no enemies, just we are all children of the earth and the heavens. And it takes a lot of love and a lot of mind opening to be able to relate to all people like brothers and sisters. So that's really beautiful and big.
Yes.
So just to wrap it up, we can see how these are stages that once you feel that all children and all people are your brothers and sisters, there's no going back. Just like if you have a true brother, you know, like someone you really love, and you have patience with that person, you will have patience with everybody in the world. And just to finish with the 10 rights, then the next one is the one that I received about the time. So it's not only space, but who are we becoming 10,000 years from now?
Yeah.
And experiencing that that just timelessness also. And the last of the rights is the one that it just makes us just feel the oneness with the whole universe. So not just earth consciousness or galactic, but now universe, recognizing like all the dimensions that exist and all the stars that are dying and all the stars that are being born. And today in this culture that is so busy, we are looking at the phones or the computer, or we are so busy with something here in front of us, we really have forgotten how to look up. And so this last right really reminds us how precious our life is here, because it's just less than a blink of an eye in the timeline of the universe. And so it's so liberating, because you just stop thinking that everything you're doing is so important, when you can just be in awe for the preciousness of what the universe is. Yeah.
Do you have any special go-to how to say rituals or things that you do in order to remember to not be in your phone, to not be, you know, in this in the small world, because you're also in this world and you have so much wisdom from the Andean shamans, but still you are kind of, you know, back and forth into this materialistic world as well. How do you keep yourself rooted?
Yes. All right. So this is what these stages of consciousness do for us. It's like I don't have to do anything different, because I wake up and I am one with the sun that is shining, and I go outside. So if you ask me for a ritual, I go outside, take my clothing off and just receive the light of the sun as in my skin for a few minutes, and I breathe and I commune with the elements that way, with conscious breath, with gratitude for Mother Earth, for the beautiful new day, and then just really take a moment of being with all nature and the universe. Then I light candles around my house, in my altars. I always like to have flowers, and I like to create beauty and create a space that uplifts me. So then I don't separate, like, okay, now I'm going to be in the computer and this is not sacred. My life is sacred, even when I'm in the computer, because I'm writing my blogs that I hope inspire people. I'm writing some good emails to connect with people, to do things that matter in the world. So it's like there's no longer a separation of the profane and the sacred, but like you infuse everything with sacredness, because even when I have to call the handyman to fix a door or just fix a pipe that broke, even then the handyman knocks on my door and I say, "Hello, human being. I hope you're having a great day and I wish you blessings on your path." So there's no more like transactional relationships. Everybody's a brother, everybody's a sister. And it takes time to get there. So it's not like a cliche, because some people want to get there in one jump, like
Quick
have some,
fix. We call it quick fixes.
yeah, like take a psychedelics and the next day, oh, my brother's my sister. But then in 1 second we get angry, and then nobody, that person is no longer my brother, my sister. So it takes time and dedication to really recognize that our anger, it's just our heart that hasn't opened enough yet.
Yeah.
And but it's also human. So our anger also helps us put limits, healthy limits. So it's not like becoming all softy and mushy and people are gonna walk all over me. Sometimes we become even more fierce, tough love. And really, I think tough love is very necessary these days.
Is there a moment in time, even though things don't happen overnight, is there a moment in time where you felt transformed?
Yes, that destiny retrieval that I spoke about, it was like a lightning bolt that transformed me so quickly into a courageous person that just really said, this is not serving me in my life. I say no to it. So tough love. Just, I'm not going to put up with this anymore. I am just going to just not function from those toxic patterns anymore. So that was definitely a big shift. And then nature has also its ways to offer us big shifts. So as a woman that went through menopause, whoa, I'm so grateful that my changes helped me come to even more to my own power, my own feet, my own roots, my own voice. So becoming a mother, like having kids, was just such a shift to become selfless, like not so egocentric, all about me, but it's, I there's little human beings that depend on me. I have to not sleep a few times a month and sacrifice my sleep for others. And yeah, so many times that I have felt like big shift, like quickly. um and and yes, the Munay-Ki can be so quick, or it can be gradual shifts. Yeah.
How would you describe the rites? I read in the book that Alberto and you were also part of ritual to actually receive the rites together with the shamans.
Yeah. So though we say the rights come from the Andes, they also come from the Amazon, the jungles, and from the coast of Peru. These are the three places that Alberto, as a medical anthropologist, explored in the late 70s and 80s and 90s. So after many years of just exploring these traditions, he realized that there was these initiations that Westerners could benefit from. So then he started offering these initiations as just a single empowerments. For example, the seer, the kawak, just offer that crown and the necklace to people. And then another day offer the healer initiation. But then in 2005, 5 is when it became like one bundle of empowerment that he called the Munay-Ki.
Oh.
Yes, so it was like, okay, all these initiations that are so powerful, actually, they have
An order or something.
yeah, an order, a logic,
Yeah.
and let's put them together. And this is the Munay-Ki. So the last two rites, the actually not the last two rites, because then there's the rite of the womb, but the times to come and the creator rites of the universe, those were channeled somehow between Alberto and his mentor in the Andes and the people and the shamans, the highest level shamans, because his mentor, Don Manuel Quispe, said that there was a need for new initiations in the midst of these very chaotic times and these great changes that the world was experiencing, and it was going to experience even more. So he was very much of a prophet. So then they created an expedition and asked the Great Spirit, the heavens, to give them these new initiations. And I was part of one of them. And what happened in this expedition, as we pray with great offerings, and again, just a group of very realized shamans, in just a matter of few minutes, the skies went from being blue to having clouds all around and lightning. And then in 20 minutes, we were being hail on top. It was so clear that the mountain, the spirit, just poured that power into our bodies and that energy, so then we could offer it. So that was when, by that time, it was when we called this bundle of rites the Munay-Ki. And yeah, and then later on, we added the rite of the womb. So what I could say with all of this is that these rites was, the Munay-Ki is a co-creation with the indigenous shamans of Peru. It's a co-creation between Alberto and them, and then the rite of the womb was given for women.
What do you want the readers of the book to take away from it? What do you want them to, how should they move on after reading the book?
Thank you for that question, Alexandra. I want the readers to just wake up to the reality that if we don't participate actively with all full-heartedly into creating our life as a sacred journey, nobody's going to give it to us in a silver plate. Don't expect the mayor of the city, the government, some spiritual person to do it for you. We each need to, or some priest or a church or even the Munay-Ki to do it for you. We each have to really create an epic, gorgeous, courageous journey by each thought that we have, each feeling that we cultivate in our hearts. Though we may feel angry, but we don't keep putting more wood into that fire. We just say, okay, I'm angry, take a few breaths. What is this anger wants to tell me? Okay, I need to put better boundaries, but then cultivate vision, heart, love, and collaboration, and just you are from Sweden, Greta Thunberg. She's one of my mentors. I mean, her courage and her message of the house is in fire now. What do we want to wait for? So the Munay-Ki says the same thing. What do we want to wait for until everything is burnt, until we are so polluted that our children are born like really deformed? They're already being born with microplastic and so many physical illnesses. what more are we gonna wait for? So if you want a map to help you wake up and just know how to be part of the solution, the Munay-Ki is there.
Mm.
And we don't feel alone because we're a community, big communities in the spirit world and then embodied as well.
And everything that is in the book is things that you can work with. You don't need special equipment. You work with yourself, right?
Exactly. You
Mm.
can be in the middle of a city, in the 10th floor, surrounded by cement, even more important to
Yeah,
embrace the Munay-Ki. Yes.
that's
So
very
yeah,
true.
anybody can read the book and just have awareness of where do we still need to wake up and show up.
So you are a parent of 2 children, am I right?
Yes, 2 adult children. Yes.
Yes. So they have been with you on this very important journey. How have they, do you think it has impacted their lives?
Absolutely. My sons are very aware of the food they eat. It's crazy how in the supermarkets we have 5 or more lines of junk food,
Yeah.
and then one section for healthy food. It's like, what are we putting in our bodies? What are we feeding our children with? It's crazy how much we are intoxicating our beautiful vessels, the body, the gift that Mother Earth gave us. So they actually very conscious about their food, and they're very conscious about spending time in nature, exercise, and they're still exploring their own spirituality because I never told them that they have to follow my way.
Mm.
So they're in their 20s and they're finding their own way. But we have just they never forgot how to pray before lunch, before dinner, say thank you, and they absorbed many things from growing up with Alberto and I and the shamanic path. But I let them be whom they need to be.
Yeah,
All the time.
that's a good thing. The only thing we can do is show them, right?
Be the example. Yes.
Yeah, be the example, exactly. So, do they live with you in the United States or?
No, they
No?
are both with partners.
Yeah,
One is in Pittsburgh, and he is just really fond of the mathematical realm. So he's a physicist
yeah,
and computer scientist. And my other son is a father of 2 kids.
yeah,
So, and he's more like a poet.
yeah,
Yes, I'm learning a lot from their choices and from their partners
yeah.
because they're from a different culture. They're from Africa. Actually, they both married an African person.
That's funny. That's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, one from Morocco, one from Kenya.
yeah. How
So it's
lovely to invite more culture to life.
yes. So I have a lot to learn from them and their spouses.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
So right now you are in Santa Fe, am I right?
Yes, in New
Yeah.
Mexico, in
In
the
New
desert,
Mexico. And
high
you live
desert.
in different places. You also have a retreat or so in Chile, right?
Yes, I grew up there, and we have a retreat center where we offer the Munay-Ki
Yeah.
once a year. No, sometimes we offer it in other places, like this year in Spain, actually.
Oh,
Online every year, of course, in 3 languages: Spanish, English, German, but residentially in different retreat centers, yes, and definitely in Chile. And we do our medicine wheel there as well. And then Alberto's grow a new body programs that are for detoxing and help and understanding how do we keep this physical vessel healthiest, like most healthy. Yeah.
I've been looking at your retreat center in Chile several times and your courses there. I am so interested in going.
Anytime, Alexandra, please welcome you, your husband, your family.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So I'm about to let you go. I just want to let you have a moment if you want something special to say to your Swedish audience directly. This is your time.
Thank you for listening all the way till here. Sweden, it's a beautiful country filled with nature and diversity. Please be an earth keeper and care for your land, because we all have to take responsibility for the land where we live. So just be very proud and grateful for the land you have, and just know that you're not alone. Though there people are very greedy and they are just not caring about what happens to our planet, uh, if you do care, just do everything you can to be a keeper of the Garden of Eden, because this is the Garden of Eden. We have been trashing it, but we need to restore it into be that Eden that we long for. It's not that Eden is not going to be in the skies when you die. The Eden is here now. Let's really return to Eden by healing our land.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That's beautiful. So perhaps we have a very good understanding now of the Munay-Ki rites, and I think that this book will help many people, because it is also a book that is very inspirational, educational, and very, very practical. So once again, I thank you so much for writing this book. And I am so looking forward to hear what the Swedish audience think of it.
I really appreciate, and I thank my mentors and the lineages that are the keepers of these rights as well.
Fantastic. Marcela, thank you so much for your time. I know that you have just started your day, and I wish you a lovely day together with the loved ones.
Thank you, and I wish you a beautiful evening and sunset.
Yes, I will enjoy it. Yeah. So say hi to Alberto from me again, and big hugs to both of you.
Well, really thank you for just opening yourself to see. You know, my favorite way of feeling love is when you feel seen. Someone sees you, like, you know, same when you give love to someone, it's like when you see them.
Yeah.
See them who they are, and so I feel seen by you, and that to me, I receive it. You know, I receive this love from you, and I see you, and I send my love as well.
Oh. Marcela, that was a very beautiful thing to say. I see you.
I see you. I see you, Alexandra.
Yes.
Thank you.
I see.
Okay.
Bye. Bye.